I don't know if it's just me, but trying to date like nowadays is just mind-numbing. So you go on a date and it's basically, hi, how are you? Yeah, I'm good, thank you. You? Yeah, good. What do you do for work? I do this, I do that. Do you have any kids? Blah, 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 blah. Any plans for the weekend? Yeah, I'm going to do this. Do you know what? I'd rather just go out and meet somebody because it's just mind-numbing. And I must have spoke to so many people and I've been asked the same questions. I just want to meet somebody and like have a few lines of conversation and then get married. Like, is that too much to ask?
Basically, I'm just very clear on what I want. There's a lot of boxes that need to be ticked. I know this man is out there. And it's just a matter of finding him. 7-figure salary.
Right.
Already said morning routine.
Yes.
That includes some sort of exercise with group accountability, as well as some sort of very high nutrition, I'm going to say smoothie. At least 5'10". I feel like that's generous. I need him to be obviously in very good shape. I need him to have a full head of hair. That's very important to me.
Okay.
Be a Christian, but not take it too seriously. Like, I don't want to have to go to church every Sunday, but I also I don't want to get into fights over religion either.
Sure, of course.
I want him to have an impeccable wardrobe. I want his suits to be tailored. I want him to look good in greens and blues because those are complementary to what I look good in. Absolutely no jewelry.
Okay.
Absolutely no tattoos.
Okay.
Unless the only tattoo that would be acceptable would be a very small tattoo if he were in a secret society at an Ivy League university and was forced to get a tattoo, that I would make a pass for.
He was forced.
I want him to be from a good family. I'll know what that means when I see it, or what more well said, I'll know what wouldn't satisfy that criteria when I see it.
Okay.
Urban married, no kids. I want to be his first wife. Our children are going to be his only children. No allergies. Has to like animals. I would prefer that he's a cat person, but if he's a dog person, that's okay. I think that's it.
Yeah.
How soon can you find the man that satisfies this checklist? Are we talking a week?
This is an example of a woman that men don't even get mad about because they very much know the reality of the situation, and she's not going to find a man that checks all these boxes or even half of these boxes. So it's not even triggering to men, but it's one of those things that you can't help but watch. It's like watching somebody eat something that sat out for 10 hours and they know it, they're fully aware, but they refuse to believe you when you tell them that is going to make you sick. You can't help but watch it happen and then watch them run to the bathroom and hospital a few hours later. But of course I have to put in my 2 cents because ladies, even if you were to find a man that has 2 of these things by a certain age, you'll have to make sure that you check all of his boxes. And even then, even if you do check all of his boxes, it is very unlikely that you're actually going to have a solid, long-lasting relationship as a couple because you're paying attention to the wrong things. These are the things that don't matter. Because what matters most is who you are as a person, who he is as a person, and if you're compatible, if you find each other attractive so that you have chemistry, and that everything else aligns so that you can build connection. But most of us already know all of this. It's still fun to watch somebody like this because we all know that in 5 to 10 years, this same lady is going to come back. She's going to have all the cats walking around behind her, and she's going to start complaining about how there's no good men out there. Lady, it wasn't because of the men. It was because of you.
Fuck up, you crazy bitch whore! Did you notice how the matchmaker was holding back laughter? The things this woman was asking for are absolutely insane. Good luck finding that guy on Temu. It cracks me up seeing these unrealistic standards from women who want a Superman while they themselves aren't even average in looks. And here's the most ironic part. She wants this perfect guy to marry her. I'd bet anything she lost her virginity to some Chad who's light years away from the kind of man she claims to want. Honestly, this one's going to end up a crazy cat lady. The wall keeps claiming victims.
Women.
You must understand that men don't understand why women are single by choice, because most of them are not single by choice. Ladies, we all agree that having a man in our lives is one of the easiest things to get, okay? We're not gonna lie, it's one of the easiest thing. Men don't understand it, okay? So most of the time they're gonna project onto you and they're gonna say that you're gonna end up alone and all that. Because yes, dear men out there, if you still didn't understand that, when a woman is single, most of the time it's because she chooses to be single. It's an idea from her to her because it benefits her, okay? Nothing else. There is still a very few percentage of men who can be single by choice, but these men usually have money. They are usually rich because if they want to have a woman for some hours, you know, a little bit of a time, they can pay for it. But I've never seen a broke man who is single by choice. I've never seen that.
So this is not me crying on my kitchen floor. This is me about to cry on my bathroom floor. I just don't understand why it's so hard for me to find a partner or to be a partner to anyone. To anyone. Like, I'm 27. I've never been in any type of relationship. And I am really sweet. I'm really nice. Like, I've been in so many talking stages and none of them have led to a relationship. And I have so much love to give. And I just feel like I can't find the right person. And it's making me really sad because everyone that I do like doesn't like me back. Like, I was obsessed with someone for like a long time and they friend zoned me because of a comment I made. And I just feel like no one ever like sticks it out with me. Like, no one ever makes it past the 2-month mark or the 3-month mark. And maybe it's me, maybe I'm the problem, but I just don't understand because I'm such a loving, sweet girl that I just don't understand why people don't see me as worthy of love.
And sure, she can get a man whenever she wants to sleep with her. Women confuse the fact that there will always be a guy willing to hook up with the idea that there will always be a guy who actually wants to commit to them. Because yes, the woman controls access to intimacy, but the man decides whether there will be a relationship or not. Also notice how so many of them hit the wall and immediately start talking about men with money, acting like they're single by choice. Most of the women we saw in that video are swimming in an empty dating pool. Men are the hunters, and we've stopped hunting. A lot of you can't even get a man to approach you anymore. You have to understand, if there are no predators out hunting, the prey just multiplies.
What do you think would happen if you started to assume that everything that your man does, he does for a good reason? Literally, just sit with that for a minute. So many women assume that men are simply just misbehaving, right? They're choosing to neglect you. They're choosing not to take out the trash. They're choosing not to do the dishes to your preferences. But this is only disappointing because you're comparing them to what, right? They're misbehaving compared to who? They're not loving you the way that you think that you should be loved in comparison to what? The perfect person. And here's the ultimate plot twist is in your mind, right? What you're doing in comparing them to the perfect person is actually comparing them to a woman, which they are not. A woman would know that if somebody's slumped over, walking around huffing and puffing, throwing passive-aggressive comments, that they're upset about something. Men see that and they go, I don't know what's wrong with her, but if she's upset, she'll tell me, which women never do, which is why men get so frustrated. Now, here's the even more sinister part of this type of thinking, is that when your man does not do the things that you think he would do if he loved you, all you do is say, if I'm enough, I'm not good enough, he doesn't love me enough, he doesn't care enough, he doesn't respect me enough, right? And then you start to feel like there's something wrong with you as a reflection of their behavior. Again, this is sinister. Stop comparing them to the perfect person, because your inner critic, the one who's disappointed about their behavior, is also comparing yourself to what? Your perception of the perfect woman, where they would do all of these things in the blink of an eye for her. Because I know this is controversial and it really shouldn't be, but nevertheless, I will recognize that today it is. Men and women are different. Our brains are different. Psychologically, we are different. How our brains function and work, different. Notice I didn't say better or worse. I just said different. So instead of attacking them for not doing the things that you want them to do the way that you want them to do it, and then internalizing that, like, because they're not doing it the way that you want it to be done, that means you're not good enough and they don't love you enough and they don't care about you enough. All of these things come from what? Assuming the worst. But if you can put yourself in a position to assume that your partner does everything that they do with good reason, for a good reason, then you become curious because your brain works differently than theirs. So you might say, I assume that everything you do for good reason. And I want to understand. Would you be willing to explain to me why? Insert the question. Try that one time with your partner. I guarantee they will give you an answer you did not anticipate. And here's the more important piece. Women are signal first creatures, meaning we like to talk about everything that's going on in our brain. Men actually take a moment to pause, think about, they have something called a singular point of focus. Or if you ask them a question, they're going to consider it. They're going to think about what they want to say and how they need to respond around the question that you're asking them. Women, because we are used to being talkative, when they don't respond right away, we tend to follow up with another question and another question. And so then their singular focus has to go from, wait, you just asked me this question. Now I have to jump and answer this question, which I need to consider. And then you ask them again, and what happens? They get frustrated. Their brains do not work the same way that your brain works. So my last and most important piece of advice to women is, when you do, assume that he's doing what he's doing for good reason, and you lead with curiosity and a willingness to understand. When you ask the question, shut up. Shut up. And when you think they're done talking, count to 20. Okay? Because what they're doing is they're actually waiting, because you should be actively listening to what they're saying to you. They're going to go a layer deeper, and then they're going to keep talking. But so many women just interrupt men that you don't give a shit about what he has to say or why he does what he does or what he thinks. Learn to ask a question, not interrupt, and shut up. And you're going to get so much information. So much information about him, about the way he thinks, about why he does what he does, blah, blah, blah. But we are not patient enough to hear them out, because it's not being done in the order of operations in which we think it should be done or how we think it should be done. So instead of believing the best, supporting them, being curious about their reasoning, we instead emasculate men. And then we ask, why do they treat us the way that we do? But that's an entirely different video. Nevertheless, try this out. Assume the best. Ask a good question. Shut the fuck up. Count to 20, continuing to shut up, and wait until they're completely finished. Because what happens when they're done is they will tell you, and that's all. I'm done now. I'm finished with that. Yeah, that's all I have to say. They will tell you when they're done. You just have to be patient enough to listen. Always, I hope this helped. Love you.
Men and women will never be equal, and honestly, I think that's a good thing. Think about high-stress situations. A lot of women fall apart and can't handle the pressure, but a masculine man stays calm, thinks fast, and solves the problem. That's why I always say masculine energy is calm and feminine energy is chaos. Plus, I don't think any woman actually enjoys being with a man who's perfect emotionally. Most guys who are super in touch with their emotions are with other men. Women want the bears, and we want you to subscribe and help us hit 1,000 likes on this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion in the comments. It's important to us. All right then, let's get back to the video.
I want genuine advice on the best way to kind of tell someone that you're not interested in seeing them again. So I went on 2 dates with boy A, as I've spoken about on my TikTok, and the dates went really well. Like, he is a lovely guy, but there are a few things that I just know that I'm not going to, like, he's not my husband. And I feel like there's no point for me. I'm not someone to just, like, keep seeing someone for the sake of it, because I just feel like I'm not getting anywhere, and I just feel like it's a waste of my time and a waste of his time. So I actually genuinely want to know the best way to go about this situation, because I was talking to my housemates last night, and we were tossing up, like, because he asked, can I see you again this weekend? And like, obviously from his perspective, like it's all gone well and like it makes sense to see each other again. But I just think it's a waste of time if I don't see myself, like, you're not going to be my future partner. So what's the point? There's two ways I would go about it. Either one, say, oh, I'm quite busy, but I can touch base with you, and like fizzle off, and it's not ghosting. But then like the next time they reach out, then I would be honest, be like, hey, I'm so sorry, I'm not interested. And I just feel like that's like kinda on like the ego. But then obviously that's like better on the ego, but the long term, it's like hurts them more maybe. And then the second option is obviously to just tell them straight away, which I feel like is the best like moral thing to do, to just send them a message to be like, I'm not interested in going on the third date. But I just like feel bad because then I want to give them the reason on like, oh, this is the reason I don't want to go on a third date, even though it all went great. And it's like, I don't know. And I'm someone that just likes to be so honest. So it's like, I'm like struggling with like what to do. But I think I'm leaning towards the, hey, if I'm being honest, I've really enjoyed getting to know you, but I'm just not interested in going on a third date. Like, I hope that's okay. Or not, I hope that's okay, but I hope you can understand, and all the best, blah, blah, blah. But it's just, it feels a bit cringe to say that at this point. And like, sometimes I just want to be like, I don't know. Can you tell me your genuine thoughts? Can you actually tell me what you guys would like to receive? I think it would be, after talking to my housemates, I think it would be the honest one, to just be like, hey, I'm not interested in the third date. But I just feel like it stings, obviously. But I suppose that's the whole point of dating. Anyways, I want to hear your thoughts.
These women, once they're 30 plus, go on dates like they're firing their last bullet. Why so much pressure and demand? That's exactly why men say we prefer younger, more chill women. Because the older ones turn the date into a job interview, looking for the perfect candidate. And we notice it immediately, so we pass. You can literally feel the desperation for a beta provider who'll give them long-term financial security. But since men don't want to be someone's retirement plan, we just walk away.
If you're in a relationship with someone, whoever he talks the most shit about is definitely who he's attracted to. Because when I was with my ex, he would always comment about, oh my god, she looks like a hoe, she's dressed like a whore. He would not let me wear miniskirts. I would still wear them because who the fuck are you trying to tell me what to wear? But he was so like, oh my god. Come to find out, he went to a strip club after I'd been in surgery. And cheated on me. So. Oh, and he also hated when I wore bows or anything like cutesy like that, because he told me I looked like a child. I also later found out that he'd slept with minors that were like way younger than him. Like, jail. He would always try to get me to like dress really classy and stuff, which I don't know why you're trying to make me dress classy. Like, you met me in a Juicy Couture tracksuit. I'm not gonna walk around in like Louis Vuitton and yeah. But he would always talk so much shit about like OnlyFans girls, and he talked about them with like no respect, and we would always get into arguments about this because I'm like, why the fuck do you care so much? Like, why do you care? As if it's like a personal attack to him. But I think he was just really struggling internally with his attraction to them, because after we broke up, his entire following was only OnlyFans models. Like, all of them. I swear to God. Also, if you're with a man and he immediately, like, let's say you're going somewhere in public, like, let's say you're at a bar and you see a pretty girl and he immediately, like, says something negative about her, that is so that you, like, let your guard down and you stop worrying that, like, basically now he can look at her in silence because you think, like, oh, she's not the right, because he said, like, oh my god, her makeup is so ugly or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Let me get this straight. You start the video saying the person someone talks badly about the most is usually the one they're still attracted to. And then you spend the whole time trashing your ex and everything he did or didn't let you do. So by your own logic, you're still in love with your ex. And I don't doubt it. Women are addicted to guys who give them absence, anxiety, and uncertainty. That combo will always be your best weapon. That's why we constantly see women say one thing and do the complete opposite, like this girl who claims talking badly about someone means you like them, then turns around and trashes her ex, who probably dumped her. The wall never misses.
So I'm 33 and I just came out of my third situationship this year. Woo! And I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry, I have really bad behavior. Anyways, so I came out of my third situationship, and the thing is, every time that I go on a date, that's it. That's my situationship, right? I don't need to go on any more dates or anything like that. And on a Friday, I got asked to go on a date to have some drinks with someone that we like matched on Hinge. And then I think he was seeing someone, and then I was seeing someone, and then we matched on Hinge again, even though we both follow each other on Instagram. And I was like, hey, I thought you were seeing someone. It's like, yeah, but you didn't last. So, opinions, please.
Let me get this straight. You've had 3 relationships in 1 year, basically jumping from bed to bed. And even while you were in a relationship, you were talking to another guy. You two had already added each other on Instagram. You know, the friend zone guy, one of those they keep on standby. Now he's trying again, and she's actually considering it. We're talking about a 33-year-old woman who should have already gotten off the Chad carousel. But she doesn't learn, man. This is the kind of woman you just can't take as a wife. She's been through too much and carries too much baggage. Women like that aren't relationship material.
Men, when you ask a woman out for coffee, I feel like this is what you think. When they decline, I think you're like, well, see, they only wanted my money. And they think that I don't have anything. And I just didn't want to go out with someone who wants me for my money. So now that she canceled, I know that she was a gold digger. That's what I think you're thinking. Women are thinking this. Hey, he invited me for a cup of coffee. I know through other men who are teaching women how to invest in themselves and find a partner who actually wants to go out with them and get to know them, has told me this is very low value. I have to decline this because this person doesn't value me and probably goes out with a bunch of other people for coffee. And I want someone who's making an investment up front and shows me that they care and put some thought into this date.
Oh, hell no!
Women are way too loyal to men. Once a relationship is hardship after hardship, you should get out. You think he's also staying out of loyalty and love, but he's staying because the relationship largely still benefits him. Even though you're both pretty unhappy, you're still cooking, you're still cleaning, you're still paying half of the bills. A man will not stay in a relationship that is not benefiting him. Women absolutely will. Women will stay even if they don't feel loved, as long as they think they are loved. This is what's wrong with centering men. When you center men, then you will stay through so much, almost anything, just to have a man. But men aren't like that. They are not ever taught to center women. They're okay with staying in a bad relationship because they're still getting needs met. Yes, you may nag him. You might not be as sexy or as hot as he wants you to be. And he might have a list of complaints about you, but you're still benefiting him. So why would he leave? And if you're waiting because one day he's going to get a promotion at work and be able to treat you better, he's going to find someone else.
Girl, who hurt you so bad? These dating coaches are the first ones telling women to dump their man. You don't know how that woman lives with him, what he provides, or how he treats her. Instead of looking for solutions or having a real conversation, she just tells women to leave so they can jump back into the dating market and end up just as single as she is. Misery loves company. As for the coffee date woman, I'll just say this. The first date should be chill so you can get to know each other. You don't need to drop thousands of dollars on someone you might never see again. Besides, who wants to spend an hour with someone they don't even know? Brother, stop being the free meal and Instagram photo for these women. If she doesn't want the coffee, she's not genuinely interested in you.
Women.
Men not being at work on a weekday. I don't like it.
Oh, so men shouldn't take time off?
No.
Oh my.
Why are you not at work? Why is it a Wednesday afternoon and you're not working?
I mean, it's almost like it's nobody's business why a man would decide to take the day off work. I mean, heaven forbid he be taking care of some personal or family business, or even just taking time for himself. But apparently, that's asking too much.
Not at the office. Not on a construction site.
I wonder if they could stereotype men a little bit more. I bet that would help.
Do you work from home? Because even that's pushing it.
And who can guess what they're about to say next?
Working from home is for the girlies. The girlies and the gays. Not for the guys.
Oh, this is fun. So now the appropriateness of a person's job is dependent on their gender as well as their orientation. Okay.
Why are you traipsing around a random city on a Tuesday? Go to work. Go to work.
You know, ironically, in the spirit of equality, I think someone should probably be taking their own advice.
And I can almost guarantee she's unemployed and living with her parents. I swear, ever since women discovered TikTok, they can't stop using it to blurt out the first dumb thought that pops into their heads. Apparently, in her mind, a man has nothing going on in his free time and never has emergencies. Honestly, what world are these women living in?
There are two main reasons why you should have high standards and why you should not allow someone to treat you like the bare minimum. The first reason is because you deserve to have someone appreciate the ground that you walk on, that is ecstatic and excited to be with you, cannot wait to text you, cannot wait to do things with you, treats you like gold, appreciates everything about you. That's what every single person deserves. They deserve that type of love and appreciation. The problem is if you don't feel that love for yourself on the inside, how are you supposed to allow that love in? How are you supposed to accept that behavior? You choose to accept the love you bring in from what you think you deserve and how you feel about yourself, your self-esteem. If you're not at a good place in your life, if you're struggling mentally, if you don't feel good about yourself, you don't feel confident, build your confidence, build yourself, know your worth. And the number two reason why you should not allow someone to treat you like the bare minimum is for the rest of the girls in the world. It is a domino effect. If you allow a man in and he treats you like shit, and you keep going back to him and time again, he's going to think, yeah, I can get away with treating women like shit. That's an okay thing. He's going to generalize it and try to do it with multiple women. It's already becoming a rarity that men put an effort towards a woman they want to pursue or to get to know a woman. The bar is literally sometimes in hell for that fact. And I do believe it's because the women that allow men to treat them like shit, that's why men continue to do those behaviors, continue to do those things because they can get away with it and not have any repercussions to their actions. And that is why more women need to have higher standards so men learn, yeah, I cannot be doing that shit. Boys will always choose easy women because the strong ones are required to be men.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
So you get with a Chad, a guy who brings nothing to the table, and then you turn around and say all men are like that men treat women like trash. You left out the key part of your message. You let him in. You choose the man you're with. You choose to stay. You choose to turn a blind eye to his behavior. But when he does exactly what you should have seen coming, you claim all men are bad. There are studies proving that a lot of women keep dating the same type of men over and over because that's what they're attracted to. So learn to take some responsibility. But what am I saying, brothers? Responsibility is kryptonite to modern women.
So I am 23 and I avoid any kind of romantic involvement. I actually thought I had a avoidant attachment style, but I looked into it a bit more. I do not. Also, it's really important to look into what style you have because then you know how you can manage it. I definitely have a disorganized attachment style. If you can relate to any of these, you probably do too. If I ever do like someone, I am going to self-sabotage or almost find a bad thing about them. It's hard to trust anyone, so I'd rather make myself feel alone. Also very hot and cold, like I will either really like you or have no feelings at all. I want vulnerability, but I don't want to give it. I very much crave stability. I do consider myself quite selfish, but that is just how I've been brought up to be. Always had to rely on myself. No one's going to help me. We are very inconsistent people. As I say, very hot or cold. It can be one extreme to the other. Wanting it so bad or running away and avoiding it at all costs. I definitely have some healing to do.
Women want the bears, and we want you to subscribe and help us hit 1,000 likes on this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion in the comments. It's important to us. Alright then, let's get back to the video.
Do you know how life fucking feels when you finally get your man's credit card? I'm on cloud fucking 9. Okay? And it's not like I'm racking it up, okay? We don't got that kind of money. I'm not racking it up. But I go to the coffee shop, I tap that little card knowing that it's not coming out of my account. That feeling is pure ecstasy. I'm not buying a Cartier love bracelet, okay? I'm going to the Thai restaurant and getting a huge bowl of pho. And the happiness that brings me knowing that he gave me that card. And he's like, what'd you buy? And I'm like, Thai food. He's like, okay. Like, just knowing that that's in my wallet. I feel, there's a pep in my fucking step. There's a pep in my step. I'm hopping around town I'm a new woman. I'm reborn. And I don't care if any of you guys say that this is some shallow gold digging shit. I don't care. It makes me feel appreciated. Okay? That makes me feel loved. Having my man's credit card in my wallet, that makes me feel loved. Other things do too that are free. Okay? Pause your fucking comments. But there just really isn't a feeling like it. Okay? I feel great. So.
The first one is a woman who self-sabotages, and the second is a woman who finally discovered what it feels like to be truly loved by a man. If women would let go of the superficial stuff and stop listening to those bitter TikTok messages from miserable women, they'd go out with an average man, a man who appreciates them, who would make them feel like that second woman, who sees the value a man brings into her life. Because what she's experiencing is something many married women have felt: the physical and financial protection a man provides, how he makes life easier for the woman he loves. But that doesn't sell. The message that gets promoted is the one from women like the one we're about to see next.
White feminism literally is the guarding gates of patriarchy. You cannot convince me otherwise. If your feminism doesn't include women of color and understand that women of color led the suffrage movement, white women came and joined in, and then when they gave white women the right to vote, they threw everyone else under the bus, and they were like, no, it's cool, we got the right to vote, everything's fine, we're good, like, we did the best that we could. Meanwhile, women of color didn't get the right to vote until many years later, and the very last women in America that got the right to vote, I think it was the late 60s, were indigenous women. Women that are literally already of this land. So yeah, white feminism to me is just another kind of modern whitewashed way of upholding patriarchy. They are the first people that will go and defend the patriarchy when it benefits them. They will run to that like rats leaving a little ship, going towards the little crumbs. White feminism literally exists to ensure that white women are in a group all together, being like, we struggle, right? Because we're women, but they're only comparing themselves to the next level right beside them, which is men. At the end of the day, that is what they're looking towards, and they will go and get the benefits of patriarchy as fast as they can. We saw that with the amount of white women that voted for Trump. We saw that. And it's no different with the flawed villain. And that whole like bullshit too of her trying to be like, I'm like speaking out for women, this and that. Okay, it's for white women. Like, we know that. And the thing is, you're going to see her get more of these extremist followers. And all of these people, and I say this because I see a lot of these people, a lot of these creators and stuff, like their back end lives, their front end lives, people that have like these crazy platforms where they're just trying to be like controversial or whatever. I guarantee you, whatever the hell is going on in the real world, miserable. So go ahead, go on here, be a white feminist. At the end of the day, that platform's going to exist. But until you actually include other women in your actual work and practice and preaching, you're not going to get anywhere in life. If you cannot include other people, especially women, other women, within your group that you're trying to create, you will not get very far. We're at a point where everyone is like, fuck white supremacy once again, and fuck patriarchy, and you want to hold on to the boat?
This woman reminds me of a video I saw a few days ago about how the dictatorship in Iran came to power, and it all started when women were allowed to vote. At first, they lived in one of the most advanced parliamentary democracies in the Middle East, educated people with full rights. But women got involved in feminist and Marxist socialist movements demanding more rights. They wanted to tear down the very system that gave them freedom, and they ended up supporting the Iranian regime, which presented itself as democratic, until years later it revealed its true face. Women were forced to wear what they wear today, sent back to the kitchen, stripped of rights and voice. Because women in feminism don't react, they don't get it. The same thing is happening in the West. They attack the very men who gave them all the rights they enjoy today, keep pushing, and are destroying the country. Just look at how they elected a Muslim in New York, the religion furthest from feminism. But to them, it's always the American patriarchal man's fault. And if you're white, even worse, you're basically the devil in today's society. Like Ray Dalio said, history always repeats itself.
No, males are not choosing, but
Oh, yes, they are.
I do find it hilarious how they are all like, yeah, we're done with women. That's why we're all single, because we chose to be done with women.
You know, if someone tells you something often enough, maybe you should start believing them because, yeah, a lot of men are just completely done with dating.
You guys didn't choose that. You know you didn't choose that.
Oh, but they did. What exactly is so hard to believe about that?
You know that right now women are becoming really picky and not choosing men that all they do is bring a paycheck.
Like I said before, there's a lot of women that are very upset that a lot of guys are actually choosing to be single because they want all of the power for themselves and to be able to dictate who they date. It is incomprehensible to some that guys actually can choose who to date.
Although there are still women out there who will accept that. And I suggest you go find them and leave us alone.
Oh, I don't think that'll be a problem at all because it's almost like personality types similar to some that we've just seen are almost the very reasons why a lot of guys are choosing to remain single.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Clearly, they're being choosy because a woman wouldn't make a video about this unless it was bothering her. The strange thing is, this is exactly what women asked for. They wanted to be strong and independent. They wanted men to leave them alone, and men listened. You know what's ironic? In 90% of the dating scenes in this country, the main requirement from almost every woman is that the man brings a paycheck to the relationship. And the bigger the paycheck, the more women you get. So, brother, go for the big check first. Because with them, it always plays out the same. They'll say one thing, then do the complete opposite. That's how they end up at the wall. And the wall doesn't forgive.
What I'm looking for in a man as a 29-year-old woman who is a single mom and a widow, this is just my opinion and how I feel. So just remember that when you're listening to this. Of course, I want someone respectful, kind, smart, someone that believes in God. I would prefer not to date somebody in the industry, whether it's like a food server, a bartender, any of that. I just don't want that for my life. I don't want to be stuck in Vegas forever. I would prefer somebody that has hair on their head. Somebody that has a good set of hair. Somebody that is good with kids, that likes kids, because I'm a mom. So if you do not like kids, we're not going to work. If you don't understand the work that goes into being a mom with kids, then we're not going to work. I fear men just think like they're animals and we can just lock them up in their room and just, you know, like hang out. But that's not how it works. Okay. So that's important. You need to have a car. And I used to say like I would prefer that they had a house, but they don't necessarily have to have a house, but you have to have something like be able to provide for yourself, a place to live, you know? If you're living with mom and dad, it's not going to work. I love teeth, somebody that has a nice smile. I love that. Somebody that cares about their health and fitness and that loves to work out and do that sort of thing. I like to take care of myself in that way. So I would prefer somebody that's on that same level. I also would prefer somebody that does not smoke tree. I have nothing against it, and occasional use is okay, but I do not want to be with somebody that cannot go hours without it. It's just not going to happen, not for me. Same with any substance, actually. So that goes for all substances. Somebody that has a good relationship with their mother. I feel like that's just a telltale sign of the type of person they are. I also would prefer somebody that is handy, that can use tools, that can do that sort of stuff, because I've been doing it by myself. I would prefer not to have to hang up a TV. If you could hang up a TV or build something, that would be great. I would love that. I'm not needing Bob the Builder, but you need to have some skills with tools. I'm sorry. I would prefer somebody that is 5'11", or taller. Maybe that's shallow. I don't know. My husband was 5'11", so I would like for it to be the same or taller. You need to have a job. If you don't have a job, don't even talk to me. I will not date somebody that has to go out all the time. If you are constantly out partying or feel the need to do that, no. I think I already said this, but somebody that believes in God, I have to be with somebody that knows he's real, that is God-fearing, because I will not be the one to try and convince you that God is real.
Damn! I've got nothing against a woman who's a widow and stayed loyal to her husband. Honestly, I'd say she's got potential. But let's be real, she never said she'd date a single dad, which is what she should be aiming for. Because what she's asking for, in my opinion, is the apocalypse 666 to 6 feet tall, 6-figure income, and a six-pack, basically the beast's 666. The problem is, she's making demands like a woman with no kids and no baggage. She's not bringing to the table what a gorgeous 23-year-old woman offers. She's 30, with a child, and wants a handsome, high-value single guy from the top 20%, the full package, who'll be thrilled to get involved with a single mom. Honestly, some women have their standards completely out of whack.
Women.
As a woman, dating is hard because you want a man that's going to take care of you, right? You want a man that's going to put you in your place, but also take care of you. You want a man that's going to love you and be sweet and caring, but you also don't want them to tell you what to do, you know? I don't know. It's a double-edged sword sometimes. You want to be independent, but you want someone who's going to be there for you. You want someone who is your partner in life, but is also independent as well, you know? Why is life difficult? Why is dating difficult, you know? I don't know. I've been single so long, it's like a hyper independence thing that like dating is so scary. And it's like, of course I want to be loved and I want someone to be excited about and I want to have all those feelings of comfort and protection and solidity, and I can't think of the word, but there's another word I'm forgetting. And at the same time, the thought of it is absolutely terrifying because at any moment, granted, I know why it's terrifying because of trauma. But at any moment, that person could pull the rug out from under you and destroy everything. Absolutely destroy it all. Take it away from you. Is the risk worth taking? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Is it worth the risk?
Notice how she wants a man, but doesn't want him telling her what to do. In other words, she wants all the good that comes with having a man, but when it comes to the respect and structure that a relationship requires, she's not interested. She wants the relationship while still acting like she's single. That's why she's been single for so long. That's why, for most men, the risk just isn't worth it with her. Let's keep going. Women want the bears, and we want you to subscribe and help us hit 1,000 likes on this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion in the comments. It's important to us. Alright then, let's get back to the video.
Some people say yes. Some people say no. I think it depends on the person. You know, people are so quick in my comments and my lives to say they like me or that they're interested in me, but you don't know me, you know? That's really what things boil down to. Sure, you can find somebody attractive. You can be interested in somebody. But you can't jump into a relationship with somebody. You need to make sure that when you guys are dating out in the real world, you take your time getting to know somebody before you actually jump into a relationship with them. Because the world is a scary place and people are scary. And especially when there are children involved, like, you need to make sure you're doing research on those people. You need to make sure that you are, especially when you start bringing the children around, that you're bringing them around somebody who is safe to be around them. The world isn't the same, you know? You have to be careful anymore. You can't just walk up to a stranger and say, hey, I think you're really attractive and I'd like to go on a date with you, and then expect that person to be okay with it. That's not how the world works anymore. For some people, it does work that way. Some women are okay with that. But for women like me, that's not okay with me. And like, I don't like giving my number out. I don't like giving my personal information out. But that's a me problem. It's just me. But it's a reality check. And people need to remember this is the real world. Real things happen. And at the end of the day, I have to think about myself and my daughter. And my feelings, my finances, my bills, and all the things, you know, her feelings. So when you guys go out there and you date, you have to remember those things as well. Yes, of course, take some things with a grain of salt, but
She needs to think about her daughter, her feelings, and her finances. I just wonder, when did dating someone turn into a job interview for a position? If you're not available for courtship, you shouldn't be out here asking for a man. Now, for a single mother, her priority should always be her children. But if you're not a widow, then the best man you can give your kids is their father. Because looking at everything you're demanding, I doubt another Superman like him is going to show up. Let's keep going.
you have to keep in mind some of those things when you're dating. And I don't think a lot of people do. They just kind of wing it. They just fly by the seat of their pants and hope for the best. And to an extent, I do the same, but I also like to try to think ahead as well, because which sometimes is not a good thing, because then I get too involved in my feelings, and then I freak out and I say, never mind, I don't want to do this. And then here I am single still, which is probably why I've been single for so long. It's one of the reasons. But this is just a reminder that you have to remember that there are real life situations out there, and there are real life dangerous people out there that do not have good intentions. And so you need to make sure that you take all things into consideration when you're dating, because it shouldn't be an easy decision when you're dating, especially as an adult. As a kid, like, sure, whatever, because you're probably not going to be with that person forever. Sorry. But as an adult, you should really take your time getting to know somebody before you decide to make that kind of commitment. Because if you're serious about somebody and you're truly interested in somebody, you really need to take your time. and don't rush into it, because you have all the time in the world as far as you're aware. But anyway, I just wanted to make this video. It was on my mind. I hope everybody's having a good day, and I hope to talk to you guys soon.
Ma'am, you're over 35, so this idea that you've got all the time in the world, I don't think so. The issue is that you've got that empowered woman mindset stuck in your head, and you're not looking for an average man. You want a man who's above the rest, the one all women are chasing. In my opinion, you should lower your standards. On top of not having the looks, you've got a daughter, you're over 35, and you don't want a man telling you what to do. In the dating world, you're basically playing on hard mode, because for a man, that's a lot to deal with. So lower your standards, because you're just not worth the risk.
The reason men tend to think women's tears are a form of manipulation is because that's the only reason they are willing to cry. Now let that sink in.
Oh, I'm only going to change my last name so I have the same last name as my kids. Have you considered giving your kids your last name? Because that's what I'm going to do. But if the kids are coming out of me, they're getting my last name. And if my husband or whoever wants the whole family to have the same last name, he can change his to mine. Because I will not be doing that. I will not be changing my last name to anybody else's because I already have one. Why do I need a new one? And if you're thinking, Tori, what if your husband doesn't want that? He wouldn't be my husband. Simply, I would not be with somebody who would not be okay with that or also think in the same way. So, hope that helps.
Stop it. Get some help.
I've always said it. A woman only makes demands when the man is broke or has low self-esteem. Think about it. If he were a man with money, from an important family, with a legacy to protect and a last name that actually means something, I guarantee you she'd be the first one begging for her kids to carry that name. A last name is a family's legacy passed down through the father. There are men who have literally paid their grandchildren just to carry it so it lives on to the next generation. Taking that away from a man is basically telling him he brings nothing to the table. And then they wonder why marriage doesn't mean the same anymore.
When women say they don't like men that play video games, it rarely has anything to do with the video games themselves, and it has more to do with things like emotional availability and emotional maturity and time management. And a common frustration is when a guy is more invested in his screen than talking to his partner. Like if you're in the middle of having an emotional conversation and you're trying to connect, and then your partner is in the middle of a boss fight, it can be really hard to have that emotional conversation. And over time, this can make somebody feel invisible. And I think that that's what it really comes down to is like sometimes when guys care more about their video games, it makes women feel invisible in their relationship. Playing video games a lot can also be a sign of like emotional avoidance and avoiding conflict. So long story short, women don't hate men that game. In fact, I love gaming myself. I'm a woman that games. My fiance games. It has nothing to do with that. It has more to do with like balance and being there for each other and not letting it take control over your relationship. Women don't hate guys that game. They hate feeling like a lower priority and like their feelings don't matter as much as them and their game. Honestly, the life hack is just to be a couple that games together. That's the most fun. Get a co-op game, play split fiction, something.
Sorry, not to be a hater, but the male loneliness epidemic, who fucking cares?
Apparently a lot of people do, or else there wouldn't be so many individuals out there making videos telling everyone how much they don't care.
Oh, yo, what are you guys gonna do now? Pew pew up a bunch of schools? You already do that.
Yeah, very few people actually do that.
Oh, you gonna unalive your wife and kids? You already do that.
And again, they're talking about a very small percentage of the male population, but mentioning that wouldn't make a very good video, would it?
You're gonna terrorize nations? Already do it. Start a war? Did it.
I find it very convenient the fact that they left out all of those women rulers that actually started a multitude of wars. But I digress.
Destroyed economies? Did it. Destroyed democracies? Doing it now.
Wait, are they trying to imply that there's no women in positions of any power anywhere in the world that could influence those decisions? Okay.
We're not afraid. And now you guys are just lonely and we're still not afraid. So, sorry. Male loneliness epidemic, get the fuck out of here.
It's very popular right now to be a misandrist. And if a person was wanting to jump on that particular bandwagon, remember, all a person really needs to do is make a bunch of disparaging statements generalizing an entire demographic with no regard at all for the fact that most men actually happen to be good people that are guilty of none of the things mentioned.
There's a growing wave of misandrist women. To them, everything is men's fault. These are single women who truly believe a man adds zero value to their lives, while it's men who keep the economy running and make the world keep spinning for them. Everything bothers them. Take the gamer guy's girlfriend. She's got a man at home who, in his free time, plays video games. That bothers her. But if he were out drinking or hanging with friends, that would bother her too. A man needs his space, and the woman who respects that is the one who has long-lasting marriages.
I can't be the only one who feels this way about dating. I feel like more and more people are settling for being chosen. Now, let me elaborate on what I mean. I feel like the dating landscape, especially in London, is so bleak that people are willing to forgo the bare minimum just to be chosen. So that means that they will go with the partner that is not going to listen to them, that is maybe going to disrespect their boundaries, that maybe doesn't even want to talk to them during the day, just because it feels safer to be chosen than it does to remain single. And I just think it perpetuates this bad behavior in the dating space. Does anyone else feel this way? Let me know your thoughts.
Women want the bears, and we want you to subscribe and help us hit 1,000 likes on this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion in the comments. It's important to us. All right then, let's get back to the video.
On the topic of the patriarchy, I can't stop thinking about this. Western religion has millions of people devoting their entire lives to a man, an omniscient being in the sky that claims via anecdotal text to have created life and created the world as we know it, when in real life, every day, women are creating eyeballs from scratch, brain stems, human beings. We are creating human beings with our bodies, and men still would prefer to worship a god, a male god, because he claims to have created life. We have no evidence that God created life, and yet women are not worshipped simply because we are women. I'm so done. I'm so done.
I'm also fed up with all the nonsense I have to hear. But here's the thing. We have to put these crazy ideas out into the world to show exactly what's wrong with these women. Now tell me something. The Virgin Mary and all the other virgins celebrated in the Catholic Church, aren't those women people literally pray to? Man, honestly, I don't know what these women have in their heads.
These are some of my controversial non-negotiables when it comes to dating. And a lot of you are going to hear these and be like, well, the reason you're still single is because you're really picky. You know, I'd have to agree, but I think I should be picky when it comes to choosing somebody that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. Start off with, and this one's honestly kind of random, but no video games. I don't want a man that plays video games. I do not want to have a PlayStation, Xbox, whatever, a console, whatever. I don't know why this is something that's such a big deal to me, but I hate video games with a passion. I just get really, really triggered when I see a girl on my For You page that's just like, oh, like, it makes me really sad when I, spend time with my boyfriend. He's just on the game with the boys. It's just something that I genuinely would really hate. And if you're like, oh, like, you can't force a guy to stop playing video games, that's not fair to him, 100% agree. I would never force someone to stop doing something that they like. If I find out that that's something that they really enjoy doing, then I'm just gonna stop seeing them. I don't think this one's crazy, but I don't want a guy that excessively uses any type of substance. And smoking or drinking here and there, totally fine, but like, what, you don't need to do it every week, Also 100% applies to me. I rarely ever drink. I never really smoke. I don't do drugs. I don't vape or anything. So I don't want a man that does either. Emotional intelligence is definitely a non-negotiable for me. I completely understand that emotional intelligence is a learned skill, but I am not here to teach you how to be empathetic. I will just never forget this time when I was seeing a guy and he had just trauma dumped on me, and I spent an hour consoling him and, being supportive for him. And then I was talking about how my mom was like suffering and low-key on her deathbed, and I wasn't overly emotional. I was just like, yeah, like, she's not doing well, like, she's not gonna make it. He just looks at me and was just like, damn, that really sucks. And then immediately switched to talking about something else. Are we being for real right now? That's insane. I'm just not gonna sit there to teach a man basic empathy. I'll only date guys that are entrepreneurs or don't have a traditional career path. I feel like that's gonna get a lot of people heated, but it's honestly like, sure, part of it is like the money, but it's less about the money and just more about the characteristics that come along with a guy that is an entrepreneur. You need a guy that is disciplined and ambitious and motivated and has a lot of drive. I also like the flexibility that comes along with being self-employed. He has to be fit and in the gym.
question. I work out, well, I'm doing 75 hard right now, so I actually work out every day. But normally I work out 5 times a week. I didn't realize this was a deal breaker and non-negotiable for me until I went out with a guy that didn't consistently work out. It really bothered me. Like, I hated it so much. I couldn't stop thinking about the fact that he didn't work out, and so yeah, now it's a non-negotiable. Also, being 6 foot is a non-negotiable. That's pretty much my only physical requirement. And I know I'm gonna catch a lot of heat for that, but I don't really care. I'm on the taller side. I'm like 5'8". I don't want to be eye level with my man. I went out with a guy that was 5'10" once, and all I could think about was the fact that I felt like I could pick him up and put him in my pocket. I don't know, it's just like, if his height starts at the 5, that's a friend. Not gonna lie, I have a very long list of non-negotiables, as I should, but the last one I'll share for now, which I think this is kind of a non-negotiable for a lot of people, but I just don't want a man that has a girl best friend. I don't have a guy best friend. I don't care if he has girlfriends, because I have guy friends, that's fine, but a girl best friend, I'm just not gonna do that. It's not even necessarily an insecurity thing. It's just like, I've seen way too many times that they end up cheating with that girl. I'm not putting up with that. In the same way that I would never have a guy best friend when dating a guy. But yeah, let me know if you want a part 2, because this video was getting a little too long.
All she was missing was demanding he make 6 figures. Seriously, how delusional are these women's standards? And I can guarantee you the guys she's dated in the past don't even meet half of what she's asking for. The other thing is they think they have the right to demand all this from a man just because they showed up, because they don't offer anything beyond their presence. Where's the part where they say what they bring to the table? Where's the I want a man like this because I bring this? That's exactly why they're single and will stay single. Keep chasing that fairy tale prince.
Women.
Guys, I went on maybe one of the best first dates I have been on in recent years, but maybe ever this weekend. Okay, here's the story. We met on Hinge and we instantly clicked. I mean, it was just immediate banter, immediate conversation. We got deep, we got surface level. We were just really vibing, and we weren't messaging for that long. It was probably just a few hours. Eventually, he asks me to coffee. I say yes. He sets it up. He asks, what day are you free? What time? Da-da-da. And your girl's excited. Okay, I don't match with a lot of people very often, but this person totally just struck me. I found him very attractive. I liked his prompts. And again, our conversation flowed so quickly, so easily. So I show up to the coffee shop and he shows up right after me, and he walks in and I'm just taken aback. I'm taken aback by his beauty. He is just as gorgeous as his photos, if not even more in person. We meet, we hug, instantly we hit it off. It was like that perfect back and forth energy from the chat just translated perfectly into real life. I mean, we literally vibed basically the second we started talking. We get our coffees and we find one table that's available that's nestled right in the corner of the cafe, away from everyone else, like we're in our own little planet. And we talked and talked and talked. We spanned superficial subjects like favorite movies, music, to deep subjects like trauma and our last relationships. And he was the one actually asking me all of the deep questions, and typically it's me. The eye contact was unparalleled. You guys, he was like staring into my fucking soul, and there wasn't a phone in sight. Literally completely undistracted, talking the entire time. After 2 hours, I'm like, I gotta pee. So I get up, I go to the bathroom, I get out of the bathroom, I come back, and this motherfucker ordered another coffee. He was like, I got another drink. I wasn't sure if you wanted something. Do you want me to get you another drink? I was like, excuse me? I literally thought after I was done peeing, we would wrap it up and go home, but this motherfucker was not done yet. He was locked in, ready for round 2. So I was like, sure, yeah, I'll take another tea. So he goes and gets me my tea, comes back to the table, we sit down, and we are literally there for 2.5 more hours. Our entire date was 4.5 hours. You guys, we were sitting across from each other with no distractions, no phones, completely locked in, talking the entire time in riveting conversation for 4.5 hours in the corner of this little coffee shop. It was out of a fucking movie. It was literally rom-com coded. And at one point we were both crying from laughter, literally tears streaming down our face from laughing so hard from something that we were fucking talking about. So finally at the end of the day, we're like, holy shit, it's been 4.5 hours. So when we realized the time and started wrapping up the date, it was so sweet. He was like, so if you're interested, I would love to see you again. And I was like, yeah, I'm interested. I would love to see you again. So he took my number because we were just previously messaging on the app. So we walked out of the coffee shop, we hugged goodbye, and that was it. After I had been in my car for all of 2 minutes, I got a text from him, and it was because he turned on his car and a song that we were talking about was playing, and so he made a joke about it, and I made a joke back, and then that was it for that interaction. So we went out on Saturday, and it's now Monday. In my book, proper date etiquette is to follow up the next day and say, hey, I had a really great time. Let's set up that second date. But I have not heard from this motherfucker. I told him on the date, I like to be pursued. I like men to lead. I want you to put in the effort. That's what I'm looking for, and that's what I'm available for right now. So I made it clear. So at this point, I haven't heard from him in over a day, and I've decided that I'm gonna give it a solid 48-hour window of time. And if I do not hear from him by the end of today, this man has disqualified himself. My husband is not making me wait. There is no lag time with my husband. Okay, I'm giving him a little bit of runway, right? 2 solid days, 48 hours to reach out. But my husband is really fucking excited to lock down that second date. My husband wants me to know for sure that he is interested and he is pursuing me. So yes, I had a wonderful fucking date with this man, and I would love to see him again. And we did have great connection and great chemistry, but the date doesn't really fucking matter. What matters is what happens after the date. Consistency, effort, showing your interest. This is what I'm interested in. So we'll see. The clock is turning. He has till fucking midnight. I'll keep you guys posted.
First of all, why was this date successful? Because it was at a coffee shop. This woman didn't fall for the modern narrative that demonizes a coffee date, calling it low effort. She showed up, talked, got to know him. That's exactly what a first date is for. The guy took the lead in the conversation, asked questions, which I recommend, was fun, and paid the bill, which I also recommend. To me, this man nailed the date. Of course, this only works when you're out with the right woman, one who's open to getting to know you and is genuinely interested. I hope this guy doesn't let the opportunity slip away, because he's already got the path cleared for a killer second date. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, these questions are for you. Do you think these women actually want a partner, or just validation? Why are modern women obsessed with male loneliness? If you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Your support means the world to us and keeps us motivated to make more content. Stay tuned for the next episode of The Wall.